Hi, I'm Ghost. I'm your host. The continent of Asia has given us many, many masterpiece films, and 3 directors that have given us some of the greatest stuff most consistently, and has influenced cinema as we know it most heavily in recent years, is Takashi Miike, Park Chan-wook, and Fruit Chan. The 3 directors have created countless classics, and I respect all 3 of these directors very greatly. So what if I could tell you that you could experience all 3 of these directors' works in just over 2 hours in one single film? Three Extremes is a 2004 anthology horror film that has segments directed by all 3 of these directors. The segment's titled Dumplings, Cut, and The Box. All 3 segments of very interesting quality that are reflective of these directors' style in a really cool way. Let's talk about this film, because I think that is a very, very interesting piece of cinematic history that does not get nearly as much attention as it should. So that's enough with the intro, let's just get into it. Starting with... Also, sorry in advance for not knowing how to pronounce Japanese names. Fruit Chan's work is the first of the 3 segments, with Dumplings. And oh boy, Dumplings is a hell of a way to open a movie. You also may have heard of this segment, because it was later adapted, I think in the same year actually, into a feature-length film. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about the short and the 3 Extremes, because we're talking about the 3 Extremes. Basically, have you ever thought, man, I'm really looking a lot older than I used to, and I feel like my husband doesn't like me as much as he used to. That's really unfortunate. I wish I was as beautiful as I was back in the day. I'm sure we all have. Especially me. If you were experiencing this, naturally you'd start talking to some of your besties, and maybe you'd hear about good old Aunt May, who runs a nice little spot where you can get dumplings. Dumplings that in fact make you apparently look younger. In fact, that's what she specializes in. I sure do wonder what makes them make you look younger. Well, that's a secret. Yeah, they're not going to share that yet. That wouldn't be fair. No, we're going to first unknowingly feed you these dumplings. Man, these dumplings taste weird. Oh well, I'm going to continue eating them. Clearly they're working. I mean, it seems like I'm just feeling and looking just a little bit better than yesterday. So, our little protagonist continues to get these dumplings. Unfortunately, she ends up finding out, oh shit! These dumplings are made of aborted fetuses.
What?
Yeah, these dumplings are made of aborted fetuses. That's so fucked up. I'm gonna puke a little bit.
I need more.
So, she gets more. And she gets one real special one that happens to make her feel a lot more sexy. It also makes her a little gross and nasty not long after. Oh no, that's so weird. Well, I better contact bestie Aunt May. Uh-oh. She's gone. Yeah, she was gonna get caught, so she ditched that place in a heartbeat. And now I'm screwed. Hey, wait. Despite being previously declared infertile, I'm pregnant. I have a baby in me. And you know, I'm feeling really weird at this dinner party I'm hosting. So what I think I'm gonna do is perform a abortion on myself so I can make dumplings out of my new aborted fetus. This is how the movie opens. This is the first segment of the movie. It is a ballsy opening. I mean, seriously, I went in not expecting it to be this fucking gnarly. This was a gnarly opening, especially to be watching on my living room TV while I was sick with people in the room. That was a little bit of an odd choice. But damn was this gnarly. Significantly gnarlier than I'd initially expected it to be. But it was really, really cool and well done. Now let's move on to the second story with the one by Park Chan-wook, titled Cut. Cut is weird. So, we follow this cool, hip, married, nice, happy director. This guy directs all sorts of stellar films. And, you know, he's got it pretty alright. And he cares about his workers. People like him. He's a nice, wealthy, happily married guy. Unfortunately, this guy, who happened to be an extra in several of the director's films, this man is rather angry with the director, you know? Because, well, god damn it, you're rich, yet you're a nice, good guy. So, here's the deal, buddy. You're tied to your wall. And your wife, well, she's in a system of razor-sharp wires, while tied at her piano. There's no escaping for her. Now here's the deal. I'm going to cut off each one of your wife's fingers. Until you kill the little girl on the couch over there. I want you to walk over to her and strangle her to death. Because he's mad that this director is a rich, famous guy who's nice, and yet him, the extra, is poor and abusive to his wife and child. He doesn't believe that it's fair. Why should the rich guy be nice? The rich guys are always supposed to be the evil ones. He does this to them, cutting off fingers one by one as the director desperately tries to bargain for time. Eventually, our little friend, our protagonist director guy, snaps and goes over to the child with the intent to kill, only for their wig to fall off. Turns out that this is the extra's son, and he's attempting to get our protagonist to strangle his own son to death. The only thing that ends up stopping our antagonist in this is him slipping on a ring from the wife's finger, leading to him falling, leading to the wife biting into him and cutting him up with the razors, leaving him bleeding on the ground to death. Of course, though, in a state of confusion, believing that his wife is the mother, he walks over to his wife and kills her, leaving only him, who's officially become a bad guy, just like our antagonist wanted. It's an interesting segment. I quite like it. Lastly, let's get to Takashi Miike's segment, The Box. Box is the artsiest segment of the three, without a doubt, using a lot of avant-garde ways of telling its story of a girl who is now a relatively known novelist, being haunted by her past in which she was a circus performer, where she killed her own sister by locking her in a box. Now, it wasn't necessarily intentional, the event, but it did happen. A fire started, killing her after she locked her sister in the box. She was angry with her sister, though, because their circus director, father, benefactor, whoever the fuck, definitely preferred her sister, or so she believed. So she's haunted by her past. And eventually, she receives an invitation to the circus she once performed at. She goes there to find her weird father figure person, circus director-y guy, waiting for her, expressing how he cared for her too. He cared for them, essentially as a single entity. And they make out a little bit, and it gets freaky, and it gets violent, and then, ultimately, she's buried alive, and she wakes up. Oh man, turns out that she was actually conjoined with her sister in the real world, and this was just a dream. I'm not kidding. That's how it ends. It's the weirdest segment by a large amount. You see, the thing is that compared to the other two segments, Dumpling is just nasty. Cut is actually quite uncomfortably attempting to be humorous, but its version of humor is basically fart jokes, which does not fit the vibe. And then Miike's is just so unusual and avant-garde that it makes for three entirely different experiences. Personally, my ranking of the three segments, which I'll go into detail as to why it's like this, is I believe that Box is the best, then Dumplings, and then I believe that the worst of the three segments is, in fact, Cut. All three definitely have something to bring to the table, though. The reason I appreciate Dumplings is simply because of how absolutely daring it is. In comparison to the others, this goes much farther, which is shocking considering that of the three directors here, the one that you'd expect to go the farthest would be Miike, because he's made stuff like Visitor Q and Ichi the Killer, which are famous for being absolutely insanely over the top and fucked up. But no, Dumplings is, without a doubt, the most fucked up segment. It's very dark, very grimy, genuinely gross, and it definitely will leave an impact on you. It did to me. But I really appreciated the segment. It was well made. It flowed well, like its pacing was absolutely stellar, and all the acting performances were perfectly good. I mean, every part of it was really quite good. The only reason that it isn't my favorite is simply just, I think that Box outdoes it in a few regards. We'll get there. The reason Cut is my least favorite is simply because of its just generally less interesting premise. We've had, I'm gonna kidnap you and make you do something, or else this happens. It's basically a really weird dark comedy approach to like Saw 1. And it doesn't really work super well in my opinion. I definitely think it's interesting. And the reason that Box is my favorite is because, quite simply, I really appreciate its avant-garde way of approaching its story. It's very bizarre. It leaves a lot of room for interpretation, but I think that it flows well, the acting is really good, and it's just one of the most unique pieces of film content I've seen in quite some time. Thank you for watching, especially if you made it this far. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you watched the movie. It's really quite interesting. And hopefully I'll see you again in the future. Thank you. It's so much harder to walk off camera now.